Who is Genghis Khan? Well, that's what we're going to find out in this video. Genghis Khan was born Temujin in 1162 in Mongolia. His father was a chief of a small clan, and Temujin grew up learning the skills necessary to survive in the harsh environment of the Mongolian steppe. These skills included horsemanship, hunting, and fighting. He also learned how to read and write in his native language. But life was not easy for young Temujin. In fact, when he was just 9 years old, his father was poisoned at the orders of a rival clan, and Temujin's family was in big trouble. They were in danger of being wiped out, but Temujin was not about to let that happen. With the help of his brother, he managed to negotiate a peace treaty with their father's murderer, an act that would save his family and ultimately change the course of history. After this shaky start to life, Temujin united the nomadic tribes of Mongolia under his banner and became known as Genghis Khan, meaning Ocean of Bitterness or Righteous King. Although there is some debate over which title he preferred, now with a united Mongolia under his rule, Genghis set his sights on creating the largest empire the world had ever seen. And he started out by conquering the Kara Kitai, a Turkish nomadic group that lived in what is now Afghanistan and Pakistan. After defeating them, Genghis turned his attention to China, first attempted to forge an alliance with the Karash Empire, but after they refused his demands for submission, he led his army against them. Despite being outnumbered, Genghis's army was victorious due to his brilliant military tactics, horse archery, and psychological warfare. He would often send intimidating letters to the leaders of the cities he planned to attack, giving them the option to submit and avoid bloodshed or face total annihilation. Most city leaders chose to resist, and those who did so were swiftly defeated. One of his most famous victories came at the Battle of the Kal River in 1218, where he and his men pretended to flee from the much larger Jin army. Once the Jin soldiers had crossed the river, Genghis ordered his men to turn around and attack them. And because the Jin soldiers were on foot, while the Mongols were on horseback, the latter were able to easily wipe them out. After defeating the Jin, Genghis turned his attention to the Western Xia dynasty, another powerful empire located in what is now northwest China. Again, he first tried to force them to submit, but when they refused, he attacked. And again, his brilliant military tactics and the mobility provided by his cavalry proved to be too much for the Western Shah to handle. By 1227, all of China was under the control of the Mongols, making Genghis Khan the ruler of the largest continuous empire in history. His empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean in the east to Eastern Europe in the west. It was a vast and diverse land that was home to many different cultures and people. Despite the size and diversity of his empire, Genghis Khan was a firm believer in the superiority of the Mongol way of life. He was a shamanist, which is a form of belief that involves the worship of natural forces through rituals and sacrifices. He also believed that the Mongols were destined to rule over all other people. This belief was probably what motivated him to conquer as much land as he did. But he wasn't just a conqueror, he was also a great lawgiver and organizer. He created a legal code that was fair and equal for all subjects, regardless of their status or background. He also established a system of weights and measures and standardized the currency used in his empire. He even founded the Yebe, a secret police force that was responsible for spying on and eliminating anyone who was a threat to the stability of the empire. The Mongols brought many changes to the regions they conquered. They introduced new crops such as rice and cotton to Europe and the Middle East. They also facilitated trade along the Silk Road, which connected the east and west parts of their empire. But perhaps the most lasting legacy of the Mongols is the fearsome reputation they have in the west. Genghis Khan and his successors were known for their brutality and bloodthirstiness. They slaughtered entire cities and left a trail of death and destruction in their wake. Although it should be noted that most of the stories about Mongol atrocities are exaggerated or completely false, there's no denying that they were a fierce and warlike people. So that was the life and times of Genghis Khan. If you want to know more about the Mongols, stay tuned.